Hi YouTube, this is Priscilla. I am back with another, and the episode is about women who run with the wolves. As you know by now, I completely love this book and I feel like it's completely life-changing. We've already talked about the introduction, which has given us an overview of the book. Chapter 1, it went over La Loba, just the resurrection of the wild woman, how we need to sing over the bones, just to bring our wildish side back to life. And then chapter 2, just helping us to be aware of the predator who would want the wildish woman to stay naive, subdued, just extreme, inside of herself, a shell of herself. And then we went into chapter 3, and we talked about Vasaya and this amazing doll who taught us how we feed and nurture our instincts, you know. And so now we're covering chapter 4. Chapter 4 is about the wild man. It's about a hymn for him. And it's such an exciting chapter. It's pretty short, sweet, to the point. And in this chapter, it's talking about Manaway. So Manaway is... well, this particular folktale comes from an African culture, and within this story, Manaway has a dog. And it's so funny because Manaway falls in love with the most gorgeous girls within the village, and he wants to marry them. And so of course he goes to the father and he's like, oh, please let me marry them, you know, because this is a polygamous culture. And he just wants to marry them. And the father is just like, not until you know their names. Because naming has been a big deal, you know, in a lot of traditions. And so he needed to know their names. And he did all these guessing on many occasions and always got it wrong. Well, his best friend, the dog, decided he would sneak back into the village because he loved the girls. He loved how they fed him and how they gave him their big, beautiful smiles. The dog was completely in love, and the dog wanted to share a life with them as well. And so it's so adorable because the dog went back as the sisters were combing each other's hair. He got to hear the names, and he was so excited to run back and tell this news to Manaway. But along the road, one time he found a bone that had meat, and he had to stop and eat the meat, and his belly was full, and he made it home only to find that he completely forgot the names. So in determination, he goes back out. He sees now the girls are preparing each other's skin and all this stuff, like they're getting ready for a big ceremony. He hears the names again, but on the way home, he runs into a dessert, his favorite dessert that has nutmeg in it, his favorite spice. And while eating all of that dessert, he forgets the names again. And so this keeps happening, even to the point where one time this person knew he knew the name, and so the person beat him. And so what this dog is representing for Manaway is his impulses, just needing to control that carnal side, you know, his dog side, for lack of a better word. And so the dog finally got a hold of his impulses. He finally got a hold of his desires and learned to control them, to be able to focus and to be able to take care of business. So he dealt with that carnal side. And so finally he knew the name, and he was able to share the name with the fathers and thus marry these two wonderful girls. And as the dog pointed out, the girls weren't the same. One had the qualities of the other. Together they were two perfect people. And that's what chapter 4 is talking about. Chapter 4 is talking about how we have a wildish woman side and we have another side, and that whatever partner you get with should understand and respect that duality of you, you know, and that you also have to love and respect that duality. Don't subdue your fire just to play nice. You know, you should wisely choose a partner who would embrace knowing every facet of you, knowing the multiple sides of you, because that's who you are. That those sides together make you the one great unique entity that you were meant to be, you know. So that's what I so love about this. It's called the mate. It's the union with the other, and it's just so exciting, so adorable. It's so wonderful, because that's what we have to learn. We have to learn mastery of ourselves. We have to learn how to control our impulses, and not, as Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes says, not look at a relationship or a partner like we would look at a buffet. You know, there's buffets popping up all over, and at that buffet you're going to try some of everything. Okay, leave that to the teens, maybe the early 20s, but that's not how a relationship should be. A relationship should be, your soul has confirmed this person as being someone who just could help you pick up and carry that mountain together. Not this person who sends your flesh on fire. And yes, I know that's quite exciting, but I think that's the point of the story. There's always going to be someone who's going to make you feel extremely excited, who's going to show up like your favorite dessert. Mine being German chocolate cheesecake, you know, peach cobbler, fresh peaches, that is. There's always going to be someone like that who you come across. But if you can learn mastery and wait on the person that your soul confirms, you know, everything will be like exponential, you know. So let's get into it. There's really only 2 pages that really just stirred me, and those 2 pages I want to share. So this is going to be a crazy short episode. So page 128, it says, to love a woman, the mate must also love her wildish nature. If she takes a mate who cannot or will not love this other side, she shall surely in some way be dismantled and be left to limp about unrepaired. And think about it. Because if you cannot share or show your wholeness, your fullness, then you're only living a fraction of yourself, and therefore you can't even get to where you need to go. You know, you can't even soar. And why would you want someone who would expect you to only show your polite side or only show your dark side? They don't appreciate the fullness of you. That's something where you really need to sit down and meditate if that is something you're going through. And like I shared in a previous video, I certainly was there, you know. I had that relationship where the person just didn't respect how I needed to process information, and only liked when I carefully chose my words. And that's who I am. I do, because of my day job as a teacher, I am very mindful of the words that I use. However, I feel like when you're at home and you're with the people that you love, the first words that come to your mind should be able to come out freely, and we talk about them. Okay, continuing on page 129. So men, as much as women, must name their dual natures. The most valued lover, the most valued parent, the most valued friend. I'm sorry. The most valued wild man is the one who wishes to learn. Those who are not delighted by learning, those who cannot be enticed into new ideas or experiences, cannot develop past the road post they rest at now. So you'll know if you're with someone who is, and they are stagnant, if you in fact yourself also want to continue growing, continue elevating, but you've chosen a partner that's stagnant, and you want to stay with this partner, then you need to have that conversation of just have the conversation. I don't have the script. I think every relationship has a different way they approach the script. Like years ago, I read this amazing book, and the book is called Getting to I Do. And within her book, she talked about how if women want to meet and marry a man within 6 months, these are the things that you need to do. And she broke it down to the way you phrase your sentences, the way you approach your man. Like quite often I could be seen, like I know often I have an assertive personality. But if the goal is to get married, and so I was dating an A-type guy, and so since the goal was to get married, I was very careful in using very feminine phrases when I talked to him and expressed myself. And lo and behold, following her directions, I got that engagement ring. But I was not my full self. I got the ring, but there was no way that I can maintain those types of conversations, because I was driven to keep learning and to keep evolving. And that's not who he was. He was quite content in who he was. And so that's ultimately why it didn't work out. So let me continue. If there is but one force which feeds the root of pain, it is the refusal to learn beyond this moment. And so that's when I knew I had to pull away, because there was a refusal to elevate. Because there was a contentment for that person within how they behaved and got around in this world. Whereas for me, I knew I could grow, and I continued to seek to grow. So we were, as some people say, unequally yoked. To continue, we know that the creature wild man is seeking his own earthly woman. Fear it or not, it is an act of deepest love to allow one's self to be stirred by the wildish soul of another. In a world where humans are so afraid of losing, there are far too many protective walls against being dissolved in the pneumosity of another human soul. Yeah, it makes me think of that song, if you want love, you're gonna have to go through some pain. God, I wish I could sing. But that's how it is. You can't say you want love, but you're unwilling to feel the pain. They go together. The mate for the wildish woman is the one who has a soulful tenacity and endurance. One who can send his own instinctual nature to peek under the tent of a woman's soul life and comprehend what he sees and hears there. The good match is the man who keeps returning to try to understand, who does not let himself be deterred. And for me, the way this would show up in a relationship is the questioning. Day one, you may have talked about the topic. You're probably sharing your new dream, your new goal. Then another day when you talk about it, you can tell that the person has read up about it or watched something about it, and they're trying to make a connection. And they're asking more questions, meaning they are so driven to learn you and to understand multiple facets of you that they continue to talk about you. Not this man who every time you're together, the conversation always drives back to them. In fact, they'll hijack the conversation and take it over and take it down a world you were not intending it to go, all talking about them, not asking you questions about you, you know. And I think that's what she's trying to say. This soulful person knows that it's not just about them. It wouldn't be a narcissistic exchange. It would be a spiritual exchange where you both it's like your souls are laughing and playing together, and your grown-up selves are laughing and playing together. All right, last portion. So the wildest task of a man is to find her true names, and not to misuse that knowledge to seize power over her, but rather to apprehend and comprehend the numinous substance from which she is made, to let it wash over him, amaze him, shock him, even spook him, and to say with it, and to sing out her names over it. It will make her eyes shine. It will make his eyes shine. I truly hope you got something from this episode. It's a beautiful thing. The book continues to evolve. First, telling the woman, wake up. Wake up. Tap back into your wildish side. Pray over your spirit. Identify the things that terrify you and confront them. Feed your instincts by listening to it, by meditating. When you choose a partner that fully understands you, fully seeks to understand you. If you're already with one, find a way to connect. Heck, buy him the book, read it together. I am so excited to see what we're going to cover in chapter 5, and I do hope you'll join me. Thanks again, YouTube, for coming to another episode on Priscilla's journey just to growth all the way around. Talk to you soon. Bye.